Hey everyone, Soaring here. Just a reminder that the deck list is down below. You can copy and paste it. But yeah, let's get into it. So this was Marnie's deck with Froslass against Dragapult. The Dragapult matchup is interesting. Cloak is actually their weak point, oddly enough, because it's the only one that has an ability. So if you can kind of, hit the Cloaks and stuff like that, you're chilling. You're big chilling. Also, Devo is very, very important against this deck because Dragcloak is 90. So if you hit the Dragapult for 180, right, and if you can stack it too, which is kind of sick. So you can stack if they switch out, right, and then they hit again with like a 180 or something like that, right. You can literally do that and then Devo, and it gets really fun. But yeah, your magic number is 90 and 80 if you have a Froslass, 70 if you have two, and then Devo, right? This deck is pretty crazy, pretty wild. Shout out to Japan. This list was originally like the bare bones of it was taken from Azul GG's list. I ended up just kind of looking at the list, taking some of the numbers and choices and stuff. Like he does 4-3-3, which I definitely agree with because I tried 4-2-3 because I wanted like an extra card in there. Kept getting prized and I kept having to like really struggle, so that's why I'm playing 4-3-3, and I feel like that's pretty high because usually it's 4-1-3, but yeah, anyways, 4-3-3 I feel like it's best for now. We'll see when Destined Rivals comes out. There might be some new cards I want to add or something like that, But yeah, this deck's very good. The damage spread is very, very important. The damage spread is really important. Adrenabrain's really good too. And I just like the overall feel of this deck. And also this game and the next one, I was testing out Devo. Originally, I actually wasn't playing Devo just because I wanted to just see how the deck ran, just like without any, like, not niche cards, but like just craziness. I just wanted to just test the deck. That was it. But I put in Devolution. Very, very good card in this deck. Very, very good card. I do end up using it, and it's funny because, like, yes, he can just evolve it again, but he loses, like, all the steam, and it's just so good. But yeah, that's really it. There is going to be a Steven video soon. Steven's deck is very tanky, and it's actually kind of tough to use, to be honest. It's really tough, actually, just building it too, and just getting like the ratios right. But for the most part, Japan, like they do Mew and Clefairy, kind of like a psychic toolbox type thing, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there might be other ways to play the deck that come out in Destined Rivals. Not sure, we shall see. But yeah, watch out for the Steven deck. Today is going to be Marnie and Froslass. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you.